Welcome everybody, and I don't do an intro like Steve, like Rob. I'm looking at Steve. Welcome, but we're here today for a AMP session. I'm just going to let a few more in. Today's topic was inspired by Garima last week, who was to be here but has been dragged away, unfortunately. But I do have a couple of special guests in Amanda Kerr and Stephen Lundy, and we will discuss this topic with those two, and I will ask for others to contribute as we go, and certainly put your hand up, or I think when you put your hand up in these, there is a function for that to put your hand up, but you're welcome to chip in, because this is a topic that affects everyone. And I called it Modern Agent Maximum Impact, How to Win the Why You Conversation. Now, it started with a question from Garima last week where she asked, how do you reply to the objection of that you don't have an office? So we're going to start with that one in a moment, but we're going to talk about many objections that we may encounter specifically due to us being with EXP cloud-based, that combination that we're with a particular company, and we'll talk about that, and the fact that we're cloud-based and near all of us working from home, which is not traditional real estate. So we're going to tackle just a few different topics about that. And for those here today, I hope that you certainly get some inspiration, or some, really to get some scripts and dialogues for when you come in front of clients that may ask you these questions. And I know for many of you, and we just had a quick chat with David, many of you have been in the industry for a long time. David, 18 years, 2 years now with EXP. So you've got a lot of experience as the traditional agent, as all of you might probably do, and now you're this cloud agent, and how that affects how you talk to your clients. So just to tackle that first one that we touched on last week, and we could have answered it quickly last week, but I did see the opportunity to make a session out of this. So the first objection, or the first question that we might have to tackle that's specific to our style of doing real estate is, you've got no office, no shop front. The other agent has a big office in the main street, traditional. So Amanda, I'll start with you. How would you deal with that question, objection topic?
Tony, I don't get it very much. And I think the reason I don't is because I'm always establishing a relationship, and one of listening intently to someone who has a problem to solve. And that person then, it doesn't even really register where I'm working. I have had a person ask me once, and it was at an auction. They were just firing some questions at me, and they just came up to me and said, look, I want your card. I love the way that this auction went. And I said, great. And he said, where are you from? And where's your office? And I said, I am where you are. And there was nothing after that but questions about, when are we going? What are we doing? When are you ready to sell? And
yes,
I think it's just the being with people and having them be important and listening. That's how it works for me anyway.
Yes. And certainly the modern agent, and the thing that we've learned, I think, in the past decade, and what you've touched on, is this is all about relationships. And for many of us, we're probably dealing with clients where we already have relationships, or you're developing a relationship at an appointment like you're talking about. And certainly what you say, I am where you are, that does cover some of that conversation. What about you, Stephen? What have you come across that question of no office, no shop front?
No, I haven't really come across that specifically, like a direct question. For most of the time, I talk about my personal real estate journey from the start to where I am experientially, and basically I hear a lot of the same. There's always friction with an office, where experientially with EXP, there's been nothing but support. There's been no egos, no politics, nothing that I hear from people in offices. The finance thing on splits or whatever, friction there as well. Always, except for one good friend down in Rockingham who's like I think he said he did 1,100,000 in GCI last year. His office is like his family, so he's never leaving, basically. But everyone else, except for him who's high performing, hasn't had that family experience. Really, everyone else is on the other page. So for me, it's more of an experiential journey that I share when I talk to people.
Yeah, certainly I've come across the question a couple of times, and it really is a matter of to tackle it in one way is that for many years I haven't seen buyers come off the street, walk in the office. The days of standing at the window and looking at all the listings to find out what's for sale are probably long behind us. We meet everyone online through portal inquiries, emails, texts, whatever it may be. We are meeting people that way. And we're dealing with our clients in SMS and in email and those types of things rather than meeting face to face. But certainly what you said at the start there, Amanda, that I'm where you are, if you've got an appraisal, whether you're at EXP and you're working from home or in an office, you've got to go to that appraisal and meet that client on site. So I think that certainly you touched on, Stephen, you're away from the politics and the problems that offices create. And I know I've talked about, my wife and I work together selling now. We worked together in the same office in the past. We were competitors within that office. And that's how many offices are. The other thing about that big agent at the office that I think is important to touch on, if we're ever, and this is just for the benefit of those that are looking for handling these objections or questions, is that often with that star performer in an office or an agent in the office, then you list with them, you'll often not see them at every appointment, if not maybe one. They will often, and we talked about this in the past, you'll see that superstar agent at the start, they'll list your property, and then you'll see assistants and other salespeople at your opens and bringing buyers or whatever it may be. You'll rarely see that superstar again. And that's something certainly to make people aware of. And if the answer in your business that you're currently working in now is you always get me, that's certainly one that I find very important to convey. Has anyone else got something they'd like to contribute about that question of where's your office?
I'll just add, sometimes it's like the fee objection. When we get questioned on our fee, we feel the natural reaction is to be very defensive and just to go, well, I know I'm worth that. I think what's really important, Tony, really quickly, when someone asks me a question, so if someone asks me about the office, I say, that's a great question, Tony. Is an agent having a physical office location important to you as part of your decision? And if they say yes, can I just understand why that is? And generally, when I've had it, it's where do I go to meet with you? Where do we do paperwork? Or, it's never about, I've never had about the window card coming up right at the end of the day. So just try and discover why they've raised that question first before maybe giving them all the information. Sometimes the easiest objection to overcome is the one where you've helped them self-discover the importance of what the true underlying question is. And yeah, like Amanda said, if it's about the documentation, look, Tony, in 2025, we go to the people. We meet buyers at your home. We can do the contract at your home. People go to the property, not to the office. So just, if you get asked that question, the first thing I ask is, is an office location important to you as part of your decision in choosing the right agent? And what is it that you foresee that the office listing would do for you versus being more predominantly online and me going to you and your eventual buyer? That's all that I did.
Remember, very important. Go ahead, Bjorn.
I annihilate this question, and I love it when they answer it because it destroys the franchise agent and it destroys their entire model. immediately. I go, this is my office right here, my mobile phone. I have 100% access to all my data as an EXP agent, and I work from home, which means that if somebody needs something at 11:55 p.m. at night and I've had 2 beers deep and I'm sitting on the couch, I can walk into my office, and I can give it to them. I used to work at the traditional office, Mr. and Mrs. Vandal. Do you know what traditional office costs $30,000 to $100,000 a month to run? Where do you think that money comes from? Where do you think they get the 30,000 to 100 grand a month? Comes from you. Comes from your pocket. I'm gonna let you in on an industry secret. I'm an EXP agent. I pay $30,000 approximately. It's actually $28,300 a year to run my business, and they give me all the tools I need to operate my business, and I have 100% control. When I used to work at the franchise, my boss used to take 50% of the commission that I charge you as a consumer. 50%. So if I'm charging you $20,000, I'm only keeping 10. Then I'm going to take a 7 to 9% franchise fee out of that as well, which means that a franchise agent is charging you 20 grand to maybe keep around about $8,000. And let's say you want to change your ad, or you want to change an open time, or there's a mistake on there. Guess what I had to do at the office? I had to email Sharon at the front desk, and I had to wait 5 hours for Sharon to get to my email to then make a change. I've got 100% access to absolutely everything. Full control from my mobile phone. It's 2025. It's not 1948 anymore. Blockbuster Video is not around anymore. Why? Because it's an expensive overhead, and cloud-based models like Netflix, Uber are here. You've got cloud-based models like Disney Plus, Amazon. So I can either choose to have Blockbuster Video and have 2 new releases and 2 weeklies for $9.90 with a bag of popcorn, or I can have Netflix, Stan, Amazon Plus, Max, you name it, and I can have 10 or 12 streaming services and have thousands of movies and thousands of shows to watch for the same $9.90 a week. And also, Mr. and Mrs. Consumer, in an office, when you work in an office, everyone smiles to each other and they all look friendly to each other. But really, they'll pull out the knife and stab another agent in the back for a listing. So you've got one agent and one agent only working for you. And you may have somebody else in that office they might team up with. But once they've got to give away half their income, what do you think they need to do? They need to sell twice as many properties as I do to earn the same amount of money that I do. So how do you think that comes down to the service and the qualities of attention to detail and the customer service they give you? You're in and out, in and out, in and out. You're on a factory line, in, out, in, out. They are very, very good. And let me tell you this, I bet you the franchise agents are hassling you every 5 minutes to get your business. They're really good at getting your business, but that's all they're taught to do, get your business. Once they've got the business, they put you on a production line and you sit there until your property sells. With me, we can pivot, we can change, we can chop. You can have input into whatever you want because I've got 100% control over my business. I can respond to people whenever I wish. I can make changes whenever I wish, and I don't have to raise $30,000 to $100,000 a month. I pay $275 a month. I keep 100% of my commissions. I've got a team here of agents in South Australia, 56 agents strong. We've got a Facebook group. We put your property on the Facebook group, and I say to my guys, if one of you guys has a buyer that will pay more money for this property than what I can get, you can have 20% of the commission. And guess what? I'm still on 80% because the franchise agent gives away half and you've got one agent working for you. With me, I'm on 100%. So I can charge you less to start with. That's the first bonus for you, more in your pocket. I can give you better attention to detail, better service. I can make changes whenever you need them to. And I can put it out there to 56 agents and have 56 agents working for you to try to find you the buyer. Or you can choose one. So you can have one agent and pay more, or you can pay a little bit less and have 56 agents. What would you rather do, Mr. and Mrs. Vendor? And I guarantee you, when I go through that, 93% of the time, bang, listing's done. And yeah. I'd like to
lots of powerful messages. Lots of powerful messages in that, and thanks, Bjorn. There's
my
so
boss
much.
will take me over a steak once a week, and I'd have to buy the cooler and I'll drink the cooler.
I also hear on good new authority from Bjorn's wife. He's also now got a GPS tracker on him as well.
One of the things I do want to make us aware of is Bjorn mentioned some things, Blockbuster and all of these, Uber Eats and all of these types of things. So these are all replacing traditional services that we've all used. Bear in mind, so this office conversation is about the fact that we're not traditional, but our marketplace, their conditioning is that there is a real estate office and there's an agent sitting there, etc., etc. So we've got to recognize the conditioning. Okay, this will change as we get through our, modern younger people moving through and purchasing real estate and things like that. They won't expect it. But remember, a large portion of our marketplace, the boomers or whatever they are still expecting traditional. Right now, we can go out and buy a Tesla without leaving our house. We can buy a car online or be delivered out the front. This is an example of what we're doing by being in this cloud-based model. So we're offering a modern way of doing our service, and breaking the traditional model, much the same as the Blockbuster and Uber Eats, etc. This is just another way. However, we are up against conditioning, and that's why, explanations like what we've heard from all of you are what help us to overcome that traditional mindset and have that client explore just what it is that they have as an option right now with choosing us as an agent.
Jody just asked Tony
Jody,
about
what did you just ask?
if you've got backup. And what about when they ask what happens if you're the only agent and something happens to you? Do you have backup?
Yeah.
Is there nobody, Jody, that you've got around you that's from EXP that can assist you if it came down to it? You're on mute, by the way.
Yeah, I've got a husband who's also a registered salesperson, even though he doesn't work in real estate. He's got his certificate in case I need him.
All right, so I'd say this.
So
I'd say
you've got
my
a-
husband is a licensed agent as well.
Yeah.
Apart from showing the property, like by actually physically being at the open inspection and showing a buyer through, everything else can be done on the phone or by this. So unless I lose my voice or I'm having surgery or something like that, I've got the support. But let me give you an example. We've had team members before which have had some terrible tragedies occur in their lives. And because we are all on 100%, the hands went up from a whole heap of other agents offering to help, and those opens were covered. The work was taken care of, because you've got to understand, Mr. and Mrs. Vendor, when you're giving half away, there's no more to share with anybody. So you keep everything real tight. When you're on 100%, you can afford to offer other agents, hey, look, if someone's a bit slow, do you want to come and help me with this? Do you want to come and help me with that? You can afford to give away 20% and you're still 80%, you're still 30% up. So we do have a team. EXP is, you've got to understand that Ray White look like they're the biggest company in, Australia and Australasia, and they are, right? But we've grown from 14,000 agents when I joined EXP back in 2019 to now close to 87 or 88,000 agents, and we were in 4 countries, and now we're in 27 countries. So we've got 88,000. If you've got a family or a friend in Spain that wants to sell their property, guess what? I can help them sell their property in Spain. I can help sell a property in South Africa. I can help sell a property in the United States. I can help someone source a property in Germany if they want to. I can help somebody from all around the world. We live in a global economy, and with EXP agents, the collaboration and the unity, it's genuine and it's real. Like, agents will really help each other out and really back each other up. In the franchise, it's all fake. It's all fake because they have to go to the office together. So don't worry about that. If something happens, there'll be lots of agents that will put their hand up and step up. And guess what? I can still handle the phone calls. I can still handle the documentation. I can still handle everything from here. The only reason why people go to an office is because they're a property manager that needs to be supervised. So they need to sit in that office so the boss can make sure they're doing the work. Or they're a salesperson that doesn't have the self-motivational skills, so they need to be, guided. So they need to rock up somewhere and be supervised. When was the last time you went to an office to have a look at what listings were available, Mr. and Mrs. Seller? You didn't, did you? When was the last time you went into an office to sign something? You don't. Everything's all digital nowadays. So if you want to pay more, and get less, by all means, feel free to go with the franchise agent. But if you want attention to detail and you want someone who's going to be your 24/7 concierge throughout this sales process, and know that I've got the backup from over a couple of hundred agents throughout Australia. I've got 56 here in SA, and there's 88,000 approximately worldwide, right? You make the choice. And look, I love Blockbuster Video. Loved it. A little outing, going out there, picking out my videos and the rest of it. But the world's changed. It's 2025. So if you want to pay and contribute towards that boss's Maserati and towards that big, luscious office, go for it. And if you want attention to detail and you want instantaneous changes when instantaneous changes are required, just be aware that there may be delays in that system, because those agents don't have full access to their what we call systems and database. They're on limited access and they're on restrictions. which means they can't action anything that you want. If you ring me up and you say, I want X, Y, and Z, within 15 seconds of me pushing some buttons, you can have X, Y, Z. If I was at a franchise, it might take an hour and a half, maybe 4 hours, depending on how busy Sharon is at the front desk. So it depends. If you love 1950s and you want to operate and transact like it's 1950, go for it. But if you want 2025 and you want to be ahead of the AI and ahead of the pack and you want that hybrid vehicle, then this is the way. And you've got to, you do it with conviction. And whenever I explain the EXP model to sellers, they go from this to being like, really, is that how it works? I'm like, yeah. None of the other agents will tell you that because they don't want to tell you how the system works. But I'm telling you that behind the scenes of how real estate actually operates, it's a no-brainer. And they'll go, yeah, well, that makes perfectly good sense. And it's not an objection at all. It's actually an advantage because you squash the competition.
Jody, I'd recommend that, I know you're fairly new with us and you're in, I think, southeastern Brisbane. I would recommend, for you and for anyone else that's wondering is who's going to help if something goes wrong. Bjorn's touched on how big that there are, but if you're looking for that person that's going to help you when something goes wrong and you wake up Saturday morning, with a bad flu, I'd suggest reaching out to some of the agents that are around you in Brisbane. And just starting a dialogue with them that you're new, you're looking for help. You will find there are a lot of agents around Brisbane who will help you should something go wrong. And you might just find there's agents who you can, work with future conjunctional arrangements with and things like that. But certainly without rattling off any names, I do know that other agents in Brisbane, I can talk to you offline and just suggest a few people that may be geographically close to you. But there'll certainly be agents there that will put up their hand if something goes wrong. As Bjorn alluded to, we have had tragedy in the company, and we always found that there's agents who'll put up their hand and help, whether it's for a day, a week, a month or more. That's certainly what we've experienced this year in the company, and it's fantastic to see. Just back to the topic, and Bjorn touched on a lot of different things there, but and just to flesh out this question a bit more, that whilst you're looking for perhaps assistance when something goes wrong, if we were to get that question from the client, who else is going to help you if you're not around? Amanda, do you have to tackle that question if that comes up?
I did initially. So what I did is I started to weave in that I have the backing of good people in my team. And just recently when I was in Barcelona, Brian Anthony whipped round and put a sold sign, a sticker on my sign, sent me a picture and said, all done. So it feels like even if you're away, that there are people on the ground to help you do those things that count, and it just, it was seamless. I've been to help people in Bridgetown. You probably know I went, Ali Rutten, dad passed away. And so I went there to help her. And that was a wonderful experience for me. And it really helped her to keep her listings going, home opens and everything. And of course I went to Exmouth, but part of it is being a traveling agent. Like I really want to do it. So people say to me,
go to Exmouth if we could. But
it was
you'll
amazing.
find, Jody, and I can see in the chats already, there's Summer who's on this Zoom at the moment, has, put her hand up to say she's there to help. She's Northern Gold Coast. Well up the highway from memory. So look, you're certainly going to find that there's support for any of you. Even if you're in Exmouth, you will get support. And for those of you who don't know where Exmouth is, look it up, book a flight, place to be.
Yeah. What is it, 3,000 Ks or something? Chris knows. He goes there all the time for fishing.
What about you, Steve? Handling the, what happens if you're not around? Who's going to help?
Yeah,
question.
Yeah, we're pretty big on our holidays too. So like Amanda said at the start, some people say they dress for success. I dress for holidays. So
nice.
Yeah, we're pretty big on that. So there's unparalleled support at EXP. I've never seen another agent not supported, no one to be there while they're away. Myself, the same. Holidays, someone's always there doing my home opens, helping me out. It's just unparalleled for me. I tied into, I was quite a new agent joining EXP. I think I had 1 year experience and 10 properties behind me. So I'm not quite there yet still, even as a high performing agent, but it's early days. So the experience sort of question closely tied with that used to come up. It doesn't come up nowadays, which is awesome. But the collaboration of everybody's experience over all the agents in WA, there's never a question in our chats like left hanging for long. Each person gets answered. The complex sales that I had to deal with at a brick and mortar agency was always waiting for the input of somebody who knew more than I did. And it's just never happened at EXP. There's always an instant collaboration almost with everybody's situations, and mine included. I've navigated some complex ones where even the buyers and sellers have bought me presents at the end of it because it was navigated so well. And that wasn't due to all me and my all-knowing brain. It was a collaboration of the people around me that really helped out.
Yeah, so I think you'll find, you know, for Jody and for anyone else that's here today or watching in the future, you only need to reach out. If you're not sure where someone is, ask one of us on staff. We'll certainly suggest and point out where the ring is around you or where people may be. And there is a Google map. If you haven't got the Google map, I'll put it in the on one of the groups chats. There's a Google map that has us all there. It's relatively, I think it's pretty well up to date to current. We'll be able to have a look if you're on it, Jody, because you were not that long with us, only in the last month or two. But certainly, I think that's something that covering an objection around the help if you're not there. And Marco's just pointed out, yes, Garamo, who was meant to be with us today, is in Brisbane. Brisbane's a big place. I'm not sure where she is from memory, but certainly there'll be those around you that you'll be able to connect with 100%. One of the other things, just one more topic for today about this why us, or handling an objection around us versus other bricks and mortar offices. One more topic that I want to bring up is social media marketing. Marketing in general, but social media marketing. I think that one of the things that we're all aware of, if we've come from bricks and mortar, is we've got where we could be quite controlled around what we can or can't do around social media for our client. So this is not our self-promotion. This is when we're talking to a vendor around marketing. So we could be, I know in my experience, we were quite limited to what I was able to do on my own social media. It had to all be through the company social media, and also quite controlled and limited about what marketing in general we could do. And I know that the office I left to this day still takes a double H spread out in a very thin little local paper. And we were forced as agents to have our vendors spend on that at the rate of about $300 a quarter page. So those types of things. What's your experience, Amanda, in the past and to current as around what you may or may not have been able to do in the past that gives your vendors more opportunity or more reach that you're able to implement now?
It's free for all at EXP. I was really amazed. I went, wow. So Rob encouraged me to do more videos, and I've never been encouraged by anybody to do those. I had my own agency for a while, but that involved property management as well. So it was like running the whole show was incredibly intensive work, and coming to EXP, there's room to explore about promoting yourself and how you do it. And I think David said he started again in an area, he's moved, and pretty much I went away for a year, and I called it that I had EXP University by paying my monthly subscription and attending everything, no matter where I was on my holiday. And then when I came back, when I restarted again, I had that support and, you know, hey, what do you want to do? And it almost confused me. What do you mean? Can I do anything? Yeah, you really can. So yeah, that and just being coached into what suits you, what works for you most. And then getting your head around, yeah, I can choose. I remember Alison Rutten saying that she went to 3 different agents in Bridgetown and none of them embraced the social media the way she wanted to be in social media. And she had a coach that said, EXP will. So that's how she ended up in EXP. So, yeah, I think it's amazing. And, you know, having been 21 years this year in real estate, I know there's nothing like it because I did actually go to a few agencies as well. And it was like, you know, if you have the yellow banner, here's your profile template. This is what you will do, you know. So everything was templated and you just fit it in there. It's lovely to have the freedom.
Yeah, and we've all been in those companies where, you know, we have to be in the magazine that comes out every month, or we have to, you know, we weren't allowed to do video, believe it or not. The boss didn't like it. And so we never did video unless it was drone video or something like that, but not personal video like we all do. And like we know now really connects us with clients, or connects the clients. I think Chris probably does it best when he's not for self-promotion, which it all is anyway, but for introducing clients' property. I think Alison does it fantastically well. She's got some quirky videos at the moment where, you know, we can be our own personality, introducing the vendor's home. Burri's doing some really cool ones. You know, we're all seeing this, our personalities come out in video that, you know, for me, it just wasn't something we were allowed to do. Steve, what about yourself? What are you seeing that, you know, is, you know, vendor focused in this point around what you're able to do that you may not have been in the past? And
yeah, vendor focused. Wow. So vendor focused. In comparison, I see just the sort of like Amanda said, choose your own adventure, what works for you sort of thing, coached into what works for you. Helps with that, basically because it works for you. So I think that helps with the vendor in that it's what works. It's your system. It's your what you know how to get a good result with.
tailor it to them.
Yeah, basically there's so much freedom to market in different ways, and the growth from EXP for vendor marketing, I never saw. Like, I've only had that little year experience in a brick and mortar and got out. But it was never vendor focused. And so I've only seen EXP from the time I joined, which was about a year or so ago now, just grow what we can do for the vendor as well as the agent. Like it's astronomical, the and almost with everything I have going on in life, hard for me to keep up. But I love that. I love that it's not just sort of forced. It's actually, even with all that, it's you choose what works for you and serving your vendor. It's so much, like just tailored for what works. Yeah.
Well, that's it. It's tailored, and you know, I know that if we were all down the road in that yellow banner, I don't know that we'd have Gamma apps and Jot forms and these things that all make for our communication better and our marketing better. And I know that you know, there's so much more with AI to come. that, if you are in a franchise and, if you're speaking to a vendor and you're talking to that vendor about what's possible, in a franchise, it's going to take years to take up some of the things that we're already running with, because they don't move fast. They're not fluid. They don't implement quickly, because everything has to be checked and managed by, your director and then your regional director and et cetera, your banner, and everything's quite slow. So we're able to we are all working for ourselves. We're able to move and morph as to whatever marketing is the way to go for the time, and tailor it, as you just said, Stephen, to your vendors' needs.
Yeah, it's very good.
Amanda's asked the question, James. He wants to know how you balance your full-time job with your megastar status with EXP.
You
James,
realize
give us some
EXP
parting
is my
words.
full-time. You realize EXP is my full-time job.
Give us some parting
I
words, James,
operate
for our
a
ladies.
very, very
Just
small.
about how this conversation sits for you.
So I operate in a pretty small market, Amanda. Paul Lincoln is 7,500 homes. The next regional areas from me, next towns are 40 minutes drive away. So 95% of my listings are within 10 minutes of where I live. So I can go and show 12 properties in half a day. Do you know what I mean? So it probably is just, for me, probably just highlights the importance of having a core area that you are very good at. If I get called to one of those other centers 40 minutes away, I make myself not unaffordable, but I put my price up quite high. So if it's worth me taking on. And sometimes I won't, I'll just say, look, there's someone closer to you that can probably do a better job, and that comes to a price point. Like, I don't want to sound snobby, but I don't want to waste my time on a property that's, unless it is a referral business, and then I'll take it on out of respect of the referrer.
Yeah.
He also dresses up as
think,
the mountain from Game of Thrones and gives them a choice: a listing or a sword. Which one do you want?
I think the important thing there, a 40-minute makes for a very large round trip to do an appointment or an open and things like that.
But it's also 40 minutes at 110 k's an hour. It's a long way away. It's not like a 40-minute drive in a city, which is just on the other side of the city. For me, it's a long distance to travel for a listing as well. So, but by all means, when I first started in the industry, I was taking everything on and doing absolutely everything I could to get my name out there. But yeah, just smart marketing, social media. I always ran against the grain of the agency that I was coming from. Very old school. Also used to take out 2 or 3 pages in the local paper. Principal made us sell the spots, and I ended up refusing to do it. And that's where I am today.
I think the other little message from there, James, for all
goals
of us,
and vision didn't align. Sorry, what was that, mate?
I think the other little message from what you've said there is 7,500 people. So you don't need a very big area to be successful. And that's an example there. I've worked all of my career in areas with 5,000 or 6,000 homes. And there's enough in that type of thing. So that core area conversation, it's a different conversation, but that core area, which is something that can be quite controlled if you're in franchises. I know that I spoke to someone at eView this week. They have core areas. He's not allowed to move outside of this 5-kilometre radius. Whereas with EXP and for all of us, we're able to, go far and wide if we choose to wherever we need to. But don't lose sight of what's right at your back door, because you may only need 7,500 homes to have a successful long-term career. So thank you all. Thanks, James. Thanks, Amanda. Thanks, Steve. Thanks, Bjorn, and for everyone else that attended. And look forward to Rob taking over this seat from next week when he's back, and carrying on these sessions and the Icon sessions. So thank you all for joining us.
Job well done, Tony.
Yeah.
Catch you guys.
Bye.
Great work, Tony. Thank you.